America is a pro-life nation proudly. Have you watched these pro-abortion, pro-murder rallies? The people are just disgusting. Like, why is it that the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions? Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb. These people are odious on the inside and out. They're like 5'2", 350 pounds, and they're like, give me my abortions or I'll get up and march and protest. And I'm thinking, march? You look like you got ankles weaker than the legal reasoning behind Roe versus Wade. A few of them need to get up and march. They need to get up and march for like an hour a day, swing those arms, get the blood pumping, maybe mix in a salad.
Hey, welcome to Inside Four Walls. I'm Rose James Masson, and this is a bit of a different topic, is it not? Now, this episode is admittedly going to be short, and I'll explain why in a minute. But let's start. Satanic Temple opens religious abortion facility in honor of Samuel Alito's mom. Now, interesting little jab from the satanic LARPers, we call. You know, this is the type of church that worships Aleister Crowley like he's anything more than a hyped-up fucking occult LARPer. Personally, I prefer my occultist to be more Styx Hexenhammer variety. Now, paragraph here at the very top, or the sentence at least. The Satanic Temple, TST, announced it had opened an online abortion clinic named the Samuel Alito's Mom Abortion Clinic in New Mexico on Wednesday. Yes, it's an online clinic. You can get your e-abortion today. That being said, let's just scroll on down. This was originally from Fox News. You know what? We will start with Fox News, and then we'll go to where I was going to go with this. So let's hop over. Since they broke it, ain't really many people talking about it. Why is this not talking about it? But alright, no left, only the right. Coffee brand coffee in hand, let's go. The Satanic Temples opens. Sorry about that. Satanic Temples opens clinic to provide religious abortion care named for Justice Samuel Alito's mother. Now, what does religious abortion mean, you wonder? Oh boy. New TST health facility in New Mexico will be called the Samuel Alito's Mom's Satanic Abortion Clinic. Look, I feel bad for Justice Alito in some way. Former Justice Alito. This goofy old motherfucker wanted to Ruth Bader Ginsburg his ass through, right? But they couldn't risk it. Why? Because he's a Democrat with failing health, and if he dropped dead and they happen to lose the White House somehow, you know, providing they don't, you know, have a certain, shall I say, dominion over the electoral system in this country, they couldn't let another old fogey fucking croak and give Trump or any other Republican that might take over afterwards a fucking new justice. Oh my god. It's already barely controlled by the Republicans. God forbid we made it a complete 1,000% controlled Republican, because let's face it, Roberts is a swing vote. That motherfucker can go as left as Liz Cheney on a treadmill. Now, what is... And the thing, right? I feel bad for Justice Alito because he was forced to retire because of his age and his health and his various ailments, despite Ginsburg never being forced to. And we will get to Ginsburg. I don't know if in this video, but I'm working on I'm going to make a video. I tied into this accidentally. I'm just not sure if I'm going to get to it in this episode, but I'm going to go over, how Ruth Bader Ginsburg came around to being pro-life-ish, and how Jane Roe v. Wade was a lying, grifting bitch. But let's get into this article, shall we? Oh, yeah, they shoved Alito out the fucking front door so they get Ketanji Brown Jackson in there. And everyone was celebrating, yay, we got a new Democrat Supreme Court justice. And it's like, yeah, sure you fucking did, but homie, the fucking court's R versus D ratio is the exact same. You just got a doofier bitch who doesn't know basic biology. Congratulations. Surely, forcing Alito out was a smart call. And either way, fucking hell, man. There's a bunch of these Supreme Court justices who are on their way on the next couple fucking banana peel slips. Chris Pandafilo is the author of this article. The Satanic Temple is opening a health clinic in New Mexico to provide, quote, free religious medication abortions, and will name the facility, quote, the Samuel Alito's Mom's Satanic Abortion Clinic, in mockery of Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito, who authored the opinion overturning Roe v. Wade. Oh, man. I should call them, let them know that, literally Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for the last, 20 years before she fucking died, was saying that the Roe v. Wade ruling was a fucking disgrace. She called it unconstitutional. And to get that wither old croon to part her leather-slapped lips wide enough to utter the phrase constitutional infringement is a feat of fucking talent. It takes skill. You have to have a law so fucking bad, it requires a talent to do it. For this bitch to give one iota of a fuck about the Constitution, and she died, legally speaking, a pro-lifer. Maybe we'll get into that. I just don't know how I would title it, you know? Yeah, I'll figure it out. TST Health, the new medical service arm of the non-theistic religion. Actually, it's not non-theistic. There is literally an entity from theology that they're worshiping, and it happens to be Satan, which is just, one of the, Satan and Lucifer are separate. It's a whole thing. Either way, Satan and Lucifer make up about 2 seconds of the entire story of the Bible. Hell is barely fucking referenced, and first off, fucking doesn't go that deep into it, and Satan? Motherfucker gets name-dropped 5 times, and all we know is he's handsome, has an ego problem, gets bitch-slapped to hell, might come back one day, and then he'll get fucking KO'd into a lake of fire. And there's the entire duration. Oh yeah, he also tried to take over heaven at one point, and again that led to the bitch slapping to hell. So there's your entire description of the Satan in the Bible. So have fun with that one. It's not really that big of a topic, surprisingly. It's sort of like when you meet people who are like, "Oh, I read the Bible." It's like, "Oh yeah, where does Noah's Ark come into play?" "Oh, somewhere around the middle." Nah, bitch. Let's be fair. It's more like chapter 3, right after lineations. So read that book. TST Health, the new medical service arm of the non-theistic religion organization, will provide telehealth screenings and appointments to provide abortion pills to patients. These services will be provided free of charge as part of the Satanic Temple's, quote, abortion ritual. Though, patients must still pay for the medications from the pharmacy, which typically costs around $90, according to the TST Health website. And you know what? Tell you what. I'll make the Ginsburg and the Jane Roe coming out as a liar thing its own video, and we'll stick to this, and we'll go visit the website. So the video after this will be going over how, the legendary, RBG, it was actually all about keeping that baby. Satanic. And you think these fucking pinko Bolshevik bullshitters are gonna fucking pay $90 for the help? No, they're gonna be like, Satan should cover the cause. Don't you know I have to buy weed and Funko figures and new lights for my OnlyFans shoot? Oh my god, you fucking bitch. A pack of coat hangers is $6. You think they're paying $90? No, they'd rather risk the fucking internal tetanus. The New Mexico... Oh, I'm sorry, they wouldn't get tetanus. They're fully vaccinated. And I hope they keep getting that shit. The New Mexico facility will be operated by licensed medical staff and will make its service available to state residents who are at least 17 years old, up to 11 weeks pregnant, and medically eligible for an abortion. So let me get this right. You're still going to have to, your little online abortion clinic is still going to adhere to the current laws of New Mexico. like to the T. So this is all just a big publicity stunt. I read it more for the fucking lulz. Satanic Church opens abortion clinic. Yeah, it's funny, but I mean, what the fuck is it gonna do? You have to pay $90. You have to have you have to be medically approved to get it. But the thing that alarms me is 17 years old? A minor? You want a minor to get abortions. Now, I mean, I don't know what the school system out there are like, but out here, the schools will pay for at least taxpayers will pay for your abortions they get through the schools. Michigan's got a real fucked up system. Do you know in Michigan? Fun fact about Michigan. Schools are allowed to take daughters, let's say you're a father or a mother and you live in Michigan, and your 17-year-old daughter is pregnant, or your 16-year-old daughter is pregnant. Schools, high schools in this area, are allowed to drive your child to an abortion clinic where they're allowed to receive that abortion, and you do not have to be made aware of it. Yeah, I know, it's a real fucking goofed law. So I just found an article, we will be reading it. I guess it's not just Michigan. Ooh. Then again, they also want to vaccinate your kid without telling you too, so, you know. Should schools and the government be allowed to... No, is the answer. Provide telehealth screenings. Did I read that? Pharmacy, which typically costs... New Mexico facility will be operated. Read that. The facility was named for Justice Samuel Alito's mother, because Alito wrote the majority opinion in Dobbs v. Jackson, Women's Health Organization. By the way, they were told that Dobbs v. Jackson case would be a big fuck up. It would go to the Supreme Court, and Roe v. Wade would be overturned. Everyone told them that would happen. They didn't believe it. I didn't actually believe it, believe it or not. I mean, I celebrated and fucking danced up and down, thought it was hilarious. Name for the majority screening of Roe v. Dobbs. Women's Health Organization, which overturned Roe v. Wade and held that the Constitution of the United States does not confer a right to abortion. It doesn't. Find it. Find it. I have made this argument so many times, because every article I read about this says, Roe v. Wade overturning removed the constitutional right for women to get abortions. First off, Lily dipshit Strawman, let me tell you something. The Founding Fathers could not have conceived of abortion. That shit was so out of their element to fucking think of such a heinous fucking act of a mom and a father conspiring with each other to murder their infant together before it even had the chance to see the fucking sunlight. It wasn't really something that crossed their mind. Now, miscarriages crossed their mind, and I'm sure as fuck certain they weren't going to pass any rules about that. If anything, they're probably just going to help you console and grieve with you a little bit, because loss of life is loss of life. I don't care what culture you're in, that's sad. Unless you're like an Aztec, a Mayan, an Indian, an Inca, any other tribe that, any of these little, natives or aboriginal tribes that, child and human sacrifices. But, in largely predominantly Caucasian and developed nations, human sacrifices weren't really a fucking thing. I mean, you're the Romans, yeah, but it's not sacrifice. We fed criminals to lions for amusement. We threw peanuts at them. And that was largely towards the end of society, too. And, hey, the way society's going too long, I can't wait for them to build fucking Thunderdome in the middle of Detroit. I mean, they're turning New York and San Francisco into Escape from LA and Escape from New York, so, I mean, fuck it. I'm down. What couldn't happen here? The New Mexico operated a facility named with the Constitution. Yeah, it was a constitutional. It was an opinion. It was a law ruled on through a constitutional interpretation. Bro, Roe v. Wade was a law passed by the Supreme. The Supreme Court cannot pass laws, but by forcing every single state to blanketly adhere to these rules and guidelines, you passed a law. And if you want to be like, well, it's not a law, it's a regulation. Still, Supreme Court cannot pass regulations, and yet they did. So much was busted with the Roe v. Wade case. So much. And again, there was no constitutional right fucking taken from you. It was understanding of the laws and ethics of the question at hand, interpreted through a bunch of geezers' interpretation of the Constitution. Doesn't mean a constitutional right. But watch, when the National Firearms Act gets fucking overturned, and the right says, yay! And I'll be one of them, because I love guns. I'll be jumping up and down saying, yay! The Supreme Court protected our constitutional rights. You wanna know why I can say that? Because the Second Amendment, bitch, it's written down. It's there. Go ahead and find me the abortion amendment. I'd like to know who wrote it. Probably Hamilton, him and all his shitty fucking ideas. National Bank. Yeah, brilliant one, dumbass. God, you had that bullet coming to you. Quote, in 1950, Samuel Alito's mother did not have options. Oh, I'm sorry, let me read. In 1950, Samuel Alito's mother did not have options. And look at what happened, said Malcolm Jerry, a co-founder of the Satanic Temple. Prior to 1973, doctors who performed abortions could lose their license and go to jail. The clinic's name serves to remind people just how important it is to have the right to control one's body and potential ramifications of losing that. Nigga, you were all about the vaccine mandate. What? You cannot! Sorry for yelling. You cannot come at me with this. You don't need to get your hands off our bodies, man. And you need to quit. You can't get involved with our medical decisions, man. You were begging and celebrating a vaccine mandate, you fucking shill. You cannot scream, government bans off our bodies, and then celebrate the government mandating medical procedures against people's will under threat of job and destitution. And then turn around and be like, but the government should be passing laws to protect abortion because the government has no right to demand that states can pass their own laws. Actually, that's exactly what it is. Roe v. Wade turned over to the states so the states could pass their own fucking laws as per the 10th Amendment. Anything not clearly outlined within the Constitution falls on the very sacred thing called states' choice. Fun fact, the fun, real thing the Civil War was fought over was exactly states' choice. Furthermore, states' rights. But the pro-choice side doesn't want states' choice. They want the federal government involved in every single medical decision imaginable. They'll scream all day, get the government out of my pussy, get the government out of my medical decisions, unless there's a fucking vaccine involved. Then it's, ooh, daddy, jab me 9 times. Well, at this point, bitch, you ain't getting pregnant anyway, so why do you have an opinion? And by the way, no pussy, no say. Bitch, no cock, no kid. Get your shit straight. And furthermore, bitch, let me tell you something, hypothetical straw man, bitch. Just because you have a pussy doesn't mean shit. You got a bunch of eggs. Congratulations. You were born with a set number of eggs that aren't alive. By the way, they don't fucking swim around. They don't fight with thousands of other eggs, millions of other eggs, or whatever to fucking conceive life. No, they just sit there and they're either used or they go to waste. If, ands, or fucking buts. Meanwhile, men, like yours truly, will be able to knock bitches up in my 90s. As long as, the blue pill exists, so yeah, I could be 95 years old, and I could knock up a 20-year-old. You're a 45-year-old woman, you ain't getting pregnant, bitch. So with that whole, no pussy, no opinion, bitch, no cock, no kid. Fuck you and that dumbass bullshit. It's for real. The clinic's name serves to remind people. Oh, fuck off. The Satanic Temple was co-founded by Jerry and Lucille Graves. Oh, Graves. Bet that's not the real name either. A decade ago, to be a satanic faith-based organization, so, a theistic religion, organization that would meet the requirements to receive government benefits and privileges as a religious organization. Cunt, you're as about religious as the Church of Scientology. Actually, the Church of Scientology is a little bit more religious than you, believe it or not. At least they have some Christian-esque elements to you. You have, again, the Aleister Crowley understanding of Luciferian and occult practices, aka LARP. And for those who don't know, LARP stands for live action role play. Just like how the whole Vatican, how Joe Biden LARPs as a fucking Catholic, who's, you can't be Catholic and pro-abortion. Just like how you have, I'm gonna stop with this analogy. That would have got me into a lot of trouble. But enough about Jews. Receive government privileges and benefits as a religious organization, but without the brief without a belief in a deity, the church, the satanic church, what do you think Satan is? What do you think this sculpture here is? And before some dumbass says, Beelzebub? Beelzebub? Is that Moloch? Bethlehem? It's not Bethlehem either, dog. Seriously, just go Google it. This is Lucifer. But let's continue. I think Lucifer and Bethlehem are actually the same guy, aren't they? You know what? I'll shove that entire last little bit right up my ass and fucking spin on it because I was wrong. Yeah, so that is Bethlehem. Bethlehem is a deity allegedly worshipped by the Knights Templar that subsequently became incorporated into various occult and Western esoteric traditions. Got it. Alright, so I thought there was like a biblical root to Bethlehem. And maybe there is. Perhaps, I thought there wasn't any. Oh well. I was just wrong in general about that, so disregard that last little bit, the last little thing I said about, like Satan Lucifer. That's not Bethlehem. That's totally Bethlehem, and I'm just a fucking idiot. But, I'll call myself publicly on it, so you guys know that if I fuck up, to steal the words of a great fake journalist, if I mess up, I fess up. And I wanted to make sure y'all saw that, so. I mean, my hat, metaphorically. The group claims bodily autonomy and, quote, the freedom to offend. You protect bodily, you're all for bodily autonomy, but vaccine mandate. Shut the fuck up. As, what's that? Sacrosanct in its fundamental. Sacrosanct in its fundamental tenets. It has sparked outrage nationwide by starting after-school Satan clubs installing statues of Bethlehem in public holidays display and challenging state abortion bans by claiming it's, quote, abortion ritual in an essential religious practice promoted under the State Religious Freedom Restoration Act. Well, the problem comes here is if it's like a religious holiday display on private property, then it's you're kind of trespassing. And then furthermore, if it's somebody else's, like, let's say it's a nativity scene, right? Let's say it's somebody else's nativity scene, and you just run up and you shove Satan up in there. Not only have you trespassed, but you fucked with somebody else's bullshit. Which, as far as I'm concerned, gives them full right to absolutely do whatever the hell they want to do to your little goat statue. But actually, it's a funny thing. Isn't that the same statue that had the? I just saw it. I think it's this one. I'm pretty sure it is actually this one right here. It had that motherfucker out here from. There's a comedian in Detroit who used to do the Alex Stein type shit, where he would just show up at these places and be goofy. We'll find that in a minute. Then sparked outrage. The Satanic Temple said it hopes to expand its abortion operations into other states as part of its campaign to claim abortions as a religious sacrament, protected under the First Amendment and federal law. Well, that's funny. At least they're being kind of honest, right? They're like, look, abortion is child sacrifice, and part of our religion says child sacrifice is is part of our faith. So if you're gonna, protect our religious freedom, man, you need to let us provide this e-abortion service. That's fucking hilarious. At least they're calling it child sacrifice. We're finally on the same page. You know what? Y'all Luciferians are, I'm sorry, that's a different group of people. You know what? You assholes, you LARPers are almost on my shit list, or almost off my shit list. That's hilarious. Sacrament. Quote, TST is proud to expand reproductive options for our members. This is just the beginning, said Erin Helen, Executive Director of Campaigns. Quote, we will remain steadfast as we continue to fight to uphold reproductive justice in the United States. Lol. What rights? I'm kidding. You know what's really embarrassing about that Bethlehem thing? I was totally right that it was from Detroit. And here's that wonderful interview I showed you with. Now, you probably know this guy. This is that guy who was like, he's leaving that comic book store and the journalist stops him or whatever, the press thing. He was like, what do you have? He goes, I got a book called Brother, Sister. It's the same guy. He's from Detroit. He shows up. I don't know what happened to him. But there's quite a few clips of him on the internet. You can find him show up at all these random places, movie theaters. I think the last time I saw him do something relevant was he went and saw, like, fucking Black Panther in his costume. And he came out and said, it's great. It makes me want to see black people run the whole world. And he, like, does on this whole little tear. But let's watch this one, shall we?
Hundreds of people turned out tonight for the unveiling of a very controversial statue.
Yeah, it really is. The Satanic Temple of Detroit revealed the 1-ton bronze statue. Their message, they say, more about laws protecting religious freedom than about Satan. Priya Mann joins us live. Priya, I know there were some protesters out there this evening. Did the event remain calm?
Steve Sander, Detroit police say this was a relatively peaceful event. There were a few protesters early on that tried blocking the doors so people couldn't get in to get tickets. They were told to step back, which they did. The Satan statue will be unveiled tonight at a secret location. As a small group of protesters prayed, hundreds waited for tickets to the unveiling of an 8-foot-tall...
It sounds like a ideology with a bright future ahead of it. The one thing that the left and the right in Detroit can unanimously get behind. Fuck your statue.
Bronze statue of a goat.
It's a cool statue, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Most of the people here agree with the teachings of this attack.
Bro, look at these fucking people. Look at them. Oh, they're exactly what you would interpret. Look at these people. You got some balding fuck here in this suit with the vest, dressing like fucking Bastion from Black Butler. He probably thinks he looks like him. You got this fucking five-finger death. This is a guy right here, and for those listening to the audio podcast, it means nothing to you. This looks like the type of guy that would argue with you and say that Five Finger Death Punch is one of the greatest bands of all time, and how dare you reduce them down to call them a cover band. They're a cover band. And you got this dude out here. He's probably just some pothead. You just want to show up and check out the fucking statue.
The people here.
What the fuck? This man's got some sort of, like, Guar demon mask thing going on. No offense to Guar. Hey, Sleazy P. Martini for president. It's a shame how Guar treats Sleazy these days.
Agree with the teachings of the Satanic Temple. The group.
Look at these fucking people. Red suspenders on black. Every one of them. This man's neck is popping over the collar of his shirt.
Responsible for the event.
It's here. It's in Detroit. This is fantastic. That, like, we get to experience this and we get to see this amazing
How vaccinated do you think she is?
statue be unveiled for all the world to see.
I'm just excited to see my Lord and Savior Baphomet represented.
You know what? I'm gonna let you hear this man at normal speed. This man's a fucking legend. And he showed up and trolled them and, like, everyone was, like, taking him seriously.
And we get to see this amazing statue be unveiled for all the world to see.
I'm just excited to see my Lord and Savior Baphomet represented in such glorious Italian stone. I do hope his eyes gaze upon me, and that my allegiance is recognized. I don't know. Notice me, senpai. Notice me.
I miss him. Did COVID get him? Did we lose one to COVID? Oh, look, it's the Red Girl group.
Protesters took the heavy rainfall as some sort of sign and even brought their own statue of an angel crushing the devil.
Base.
Wishes that angel statue would come to life, and King Baphomet would rise, and two eternal juggernauts would do battle right here in the middle of the city. But for what is this battle raging?
Fun fact, if two giant deities had a giant battle in Detroit, I bet Detroit would actually come out looking prettier somehow. Then again, you probably wouldn't notice a difference.
You ask. I don't know. What stands at the center? To that I say, my soul is at the center, offered up to the ageless ones, only to be torn in twain.
The unveiling here in Detroit is historic. The Satan statue has never before been seen publicly. The Satanic Temple says the statue is a symbol for what they advocate, the separation
God,
of
look at
church
these Marilyn
and state.
Manson
It's like
fans.
you can't have one without the other, you know? Like I'm equal parts God and the devil. A cloak of shame covers this man, and only supreme light will wash my body clean. But how could that light possibly reach me with the thick clouds of indecency that surround my poor soul? So I carry my wrongdoings on my back, like some kind of tormented hiker, lost in the hills of misfortune, looking desperately for that peak to rescue him from the valley of depraved habitual self-pleasuring. But again, I find nothing except for sweaty, devastated loneliness and 1,000 judging eyes staring back at me from the cover of a stolen Victoria's Secret catalog. I didn't take your mail, Mrs. Pemberton. Stop asking me that. Leave me alone.
I miss him. He's crying. He looks like if Mr. Beast fell upon very, very, very hard times. Cry, baby.
Satan's pretty cool.
Agreed, actually.
Now, it's important to note that the Satan statue will not stay here in Detroit. The Satanic Temple wants to take the statue to Arkansas. At the state capitol there is a monument to the Ten Commandments. They want to put the statue next to it as a form of protest. So again, the Satan statue will not stay here in Detroit. Reporting live, I'm Priya Mann.
Lol. Bro, of all the fucked up places, even Detroit wouldn't keep your fucking shitty statue. And Detroit has kept some really, Detroit wanted, people in Detroit wanted to keep Kilpatrick in office, and there's even people in Detroit who still want Kilpatrick to be the mayor of Detroit, despite everything with him. So, Detroit said, fuck you, get Lucifer up out of this bitch. God damn. But that being said, I got an episode, and by the way, this is a little bit more fun because I decided I wasn't going to do the, I hope it was more fun. I decided I wasn't going to do the, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Jane Roe thing. I'll save that for a later episode. Or actually, I'll just do that for the next episode. I don't know why I said later. So the next episode will be talking about how Roe v. Wade was Ruth Bader Ginsburg's most embarrassing topic of discussion, and how Jane Roe, not her real name, by the way, Roe was an alias, was paid to lie and taken advantage of by the left to fabricate a false rape story to fabricate a later false abortion story. So yeah, come back here to find out that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was actually secretly somewhat based. Alright, until then, guys, I love you. I know this is a little bit random, a little bit rambling. By the way, no, I want you to know this. I do genuinely love you guys. I don't know you. This isn't to grow some fucking parasocial relationship. We are all unique, one-of-a-kind type people out there, right? And I know this is fucking cheesy, corny, Mr. Rogers type, blah, blah, blah. I know, I get it sometimes. But, no, I mean, we live in a world where everybody wants to tell you that, oh, shut up, stay down, don't talk, you're not following the narrative, blah, 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 blah. It's easy to feel like if you don't agree with the narrative, you're like the most shit upon person in society, and in many ways you absolutely are, right? And I want you to know something. People over at the Satanic Church, they don't have your back, bro. They don't. They were all pro-mandate, and now they're all pro this bullshit. You know who has always got your back? Big dude upstairs. And I'm saying that as someone who's only recently started bumbling and fumbling their way back into some level of faith. I was raised Lutheran, Catholic, Jewish, fucking Baptist, mixed up fucking household, different in-laws, multiple remarriages, interesting fucking mishmash of people. But, I went kind of just agnostic for quite a few years. Recently, in the last about 2 years, I actually started, really wanting to... It was the Jordan Peterson biblical series that made me want to start pursuing the Bible a little bit more and learn more about it. And really over the last, year, I've really kind of buckled down on that. But what exactly has a Satanic Church provided? Other than some good laughs, I will genuinely admit, they've given us some actually good fucking laughs, but... I want to end this with just telling you, I know, the actual end's coming, I promise. Even if you don't believe in any sort of theistic or whatever deity, you are a one-of-a-kind, unique person. People tell you, oh, you're just you're a grain of sand on a beach, man. We're all just fucking stardust, man. And a giant fucking rock, man, hurtling through the vacuumous void of space, man. Whoa, dude. And that's such a fucking reductionist thought process, no. There were billions of chances for us not to be here. Every second of the day is another defiance that we're here. Do you know the cosmic chances, the rare scarcity of your ancestors meeting and fucking and then that repeating till it got down to you? Literally, of all the people in the planet at any one given time, your grandparents met and made you. Or made your parents that led to make you. And that process goes back countless generations to the first fucking people. So, don't let this fucking world get to you. Don't take any of the fucking black pills. Do not hold out hope. We will get through this. This is a joke episode. I'm just saying in general. It's a pretty dark fucking world. There's a lot of bad shit. With, what's going on with Russia and NATO. I'm going to keep acting like it's a fucking Ukraine conflict. It's a Russia-NATO conflict exclusively. And, corrupt politicians on the left and the right constantly working to undermine you and rob this country and gut it from the inside out. We've faced worse challenges. Not as a country necessarily, but as a species. And we have gotten through. We have managed to get to where we are now, and we will manage to get to where we're going tomorrow, the year after that, the decades after that, and our children will continue the same thing. These people, they're getting vaccinated, they're getting abortions, they're doing everything they can to not have children. Let them. It's tragic, I agree. I don't support abortion because abortion at any stage is murder, because upon conception, a new, unique form of DNA is created. That is a unique life. And if you want to talk about how we need to protect life and how the government has no right to tell you what you can and cannot do with your body, you have no right to murder a child. Sorry. Sucks to say. Now, there's situations where, like, the mom could... I'm not getting that right now. These people are doing everything they can to make sure their ideologies die with them. Let them. Let them remove themselves. That's why I'm pro-vaccination. I'm not vaccinated, but I hope everyone of these people gets the COVID vaccine. I hope they keep getting vaccinated. In fact, I hope they take more vaccines than Fauci has ever recommended or dreamed imaginable, because right now somewhere in the world, there is some guy or some chick who has spent a lot of money on some website to get their hands on some vaccines, and they're way more vaccinated than they ever should be. I mean, they're just one vaccine, or one clot shot is more than enough. One is one too many, but there's someone out there who spent like a bunch of money on some like Mexican drugstore online and just went to fucking town on heroin, or like heroin style, just shooting that fucking Johnson & Johnson up in their arms and shit. But I'm gonna wrap it up here for real. I got to fucking 35 minutes of just ranting at the end. The next episode will be a lot more coherent, a lot more to the point, and a lot less rambly ranting. So hopefully this episode's a little bit more listenable. I know I was all over the place. Just received a comment that said you talk too much, and immediately makes an episode where I do nothing besides talk way too fucking much. But official end right now. Psych, now.